And I will begin with our candle lighting. We light this candle to represent that spark of the divine that's within each and every one of us. Spirit is the light of our life. And as we allow Spirit to move in, through, and as us in our being, we also allow that light to shine into the world. Join me in prayer as we take a deep breath. We center ourselves within to that place where Spirit is always waiting for us to turn our attention. And so we come together this morning as a spiritual community, recognizing that Spirit is everywhere. No matter where we are, there is not a spot that God is not. And so we come together as a spiritual community to bless this service, to bless each other, knowing that all we do is for the glory of Spirit. I know that this service unfolds perfectly and that each one of us receives the message that Spirit has for us today. So with great gratitude, knowing that this is all perfect, I bless each one and I release my word. And we seal it by saying together, and so it is. Welcome to the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Rick McCollum. I'm glad you're with us today and know that you will be blessed from our service. So thanks for being here. We are an inclusive community, and that means that we recognize there are many ways to have a relationship with the God of your understanding. So know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you're welcome here with us. We all learn together, and we all know that there are many paths to the one divine Spirit. Thank you for being with us today. Now let's move to our opening song. The opening song is called Spreading Love.
Don't you feel the love is all around, in the sky and in the ground, in every single living thing, and in the song that I'm singing? There are children in the streets that have nothing to eat, yet their hearts are full of love. They are beings from above. Love's everywhere you go. All you have to do is open up your soul. Feel the love inside you grow, and take every chance you get to spread the love everywhere. Can you feel it in the air? It's spreading everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Feel the love you share. Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere.
We gonna take this magical feeling, spread it around from when the sun rises till the evening. Let it touch the heart of the souls that are grieving, 'cause we rising and without you we ain't leaving.
Love is a really special thing. Can't be replaced with anything, including diamond rings and rich, wealthy kings. The offspring of a butterfly feels the love once it flies. Doesn't matter what your size, you'll feel the love inside. Now there's a thing called hate, and that's a classified mistake. there's only room for love today. So forget all the pain. Can you feel the love inside? It is spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there is pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. When you feel the love you share, or feel the love we share, let it grow everywhere.
We spreading love one at a time, one at a time. Doesn't matter your race, color, or size. All I know is that when I look into your eyes, love is all I wanna spread. I realize I love you. I say that truly from my heart, cause I know if I don't start now, who knows when we'll depart. I have faith that our love creates a spark that starts a flame that will erase all the dark, yeah. Imagine that, dark turn into light, just cause one of our hearts loosened up from its tight grip, so it touched the next with all its joy and brightness. And that's the story of how we ended this crisis.
Can you feel the love inside? It is spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Can you feel the love we share? Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere. Can you feel the love inside? It's spreading worldwide. With every step you take, there's pleasure, there is pain. Every being, everywhere. Can you feel the love we share? Feel the love we share. Let it grow everywhere.
And now we'll have our spiritual reading and meditation by our practitioner of the day, Pat Ferguson.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this Memorial Day Sunday. And I have a reading that ties in with the meditation. Both are kind of a gratitude for those who have served. And so instead of separating the two, we will go right in from the reading into the meditation, where I will just read a list of things that we can be grateful for because of the sacrifices that were made on our behalf. So I won't announce that. I will just ring a little bell, and because the reading is solemn, you can get right in position right now if you so choose. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. That is the oath taken by every soldier, and it exemplifies the why they do what they do every day. They are defenders of the principles that made this country great. They do bear true faith and allegiance to, and are defenders of, the ideals and sentiments espoused in the Constitution. Memorial Day has come to mean the beginning of summer, a time for picnics and barbecues, and a holiday together around the family. That happiness and freedom, however, is a product of the real cause for the holiday: the sacrifices made by men and women who fought and died for the freedoms and liberties Americans hold dear. Memorial Day is a time to remember that the American way of life is not cheap, but rather has been purchased by the lives and blood of so many who have sacrificed for us so that we can live free and happily now. On this Memorial Day, let us remember a few of the things that we have to be thankful for. Freedom to worship, freedom to vote, family, friends, freedom of the press, national parks, reasonable laws meant to protect, interstate highway systems, living wherever we choose, freedom from fear of making mistakes, the right to bear arms, technology, freedom of speech, the right to peacefully gather, and the right to peacefully protest. Our armed forces, places to eat, places to work, places to visit. Those who have bravely served. Laughter, flowers, animals, dogs, cats, puppies, kittens, sleeping peacefully, just being alive, all the belongings we have that bring us joy, freedom to move around freely, freedom to disagree with popular opinion, Zoom, the freedom to acquire an education, untold opportunities to succeed, freedom to pursue dreams, hope for tomorrow, music, books, love. This list is woefully incomplete, so now take the next 15 seconds to add your own gratitudes. This is a meditation of thankfulness for all those who literally gave their life so that we could live ours in an abundance of freedom within a democratic society. Let us recall the words of John F. Kennedy. As we express our gratitude today, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter the words, but to live by them. In closing, may all beings realize their worth. May all beings appreciate their service. May all beings respect their sacrifice. May all beings live their life in their honor. and so it is.
Thank you, Pat. Beautiful. And now as we move toward our special music, which will be a tribute for Memorial Day, I'd like to give you just a real brief education. This was brought to me by Tammy, and I thought it was very good. Some education for you. Armed Forces Day, which is the middle of May, are for those who are still in their uniform. Veterans Day is for those who have hung up their uniform. And Veterans Day, we celebrate November 11th. And Memorial Day is for those who never made it out of their uniform. And now our special tribute for Memorial Day. Our talk today is Memorial Day, then and now. When I was a young boy, I thought, what does this holiday really mean? And as many people said, it was the official start to summer. For us kids, we were excited because it meant the swimming pools were opening. And it also meant that school was out, or almost out. It really depended on the year, and that changed over time how long we had to go to school. Sometimes we were done by Memorial Day. It also meant that our mom would put all of us kids in the car and drive to the cemetery to place flowers on the graves of our relatives. When I was a boy, this holiday was called Decoration Day. I think maybe my family missed the part where it was to honor the soldiers who had lost their lives. But then, maybe not. We had some relatives who, as my family said, did not make it home from the war. But we didn't have grave sites to decorate for them. So my mom would take all of us children and take us to the cemetery to put flowers on the graves of our relatives who had passed. Here's a little history for you. Memorial Day, as it's known now, is to honor those who died while serving their country. The day was first observed in the wake of the Civil War, where local communities organized tributes around the fallen soldiers' grave sites. The observation was originally called Decoration Day because the graves were adorned with flowers. That's why my family went to the cemetery on Decoration Day. And even though they weren't putting flowers on the graves of soldiers, they were putting flowers on the graves of those in our family who had passed. A way of remembering. Now there's a story that's told that in 1862, during the Civil War, there was a Union Army captain, Robert Ellicombe. He was with his men near Harrison's Landing, Virginia. The Confederate Army was on the other side of a narrow strip of land. During the night, Captain Ellicombe heard the moans of a soldier who was severely wounded on the field. He didn't know if it was a Union or a Confederate soldier, but compassion ruled his heart, and Captain Ellicombe decided to risk being captured to bring that stricken man back for medical attention. He crawled on his stomach to avoid being noticed. When the captain reached the soldier, he began pulling him toward the encampment. When the captain finally reached his own line, he discovered the soldier was actually a Confederate soldier. He also saw that the man was dead. The captain lit a lantern, and suddenly he lost his breath. He went numb with shock. In the dim light of the lantern, he saw the face of the soldier. And it was the face of his own son. It seems the boy had been studying music in the South when the war broke out. And without telling his father, he enlisted in the Confederate Army. The following morning, the heartbroken father asked permission to give his son a full military burial, despite his enemy status. And he asked if he could have a group of the Army band members play at the service. The request was denied since the soldier was a Confederate. But out of respect for the father, they did say that he could have a small funeral with one musician. The captain chose a bugler. He asked the bugler to play a series of musical notes that he had found on a piece of paper folded up in his son's uniform pocket. These notes became known as the song Taps. We're all familiar with the melody of Taps, but do you know the words? Listen to them. Day is done, gone the sun, from the lakes, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest. God is nigh. Fading light dims the sight, and the star gems the night, gleaming bright. From afar, drawing nigh, falls the night. Thanks and praise for our days, 'neath the sun, 'neath the stars, 'neath the sky. As we go, this we know, God is nigh. Now, nigh is not a term that we use much these days, but it means near. God is near. So when you hear taps being played, remember the message of the song. God is near. And don't we know this, that God is always around us, within us, and living through us. So God is near. Decoration Day, as it was originally held on May 30th, they chose that date because it wasn't the anniversary for any particular battle, and all soldiers could be honored. The date was recognized by the northern states and some southern states, but other states chose different days. After World War I, the day shifted from remembering the fallen of the Civil War to those who had perished in all American conflicts. It gradually became known as Memorial Day and was declared a federal holiday and moved to the last Monday in May to organize a 3-day weekend beginning in 1971. 1971, I thought. That wasn't all that long ago. That's during my lifetime. You know, with all the commercialism associated with Memorial Day, with all the retail sales and the circulars you get in the mail and the urge to have backyard barbecues, no wonder we've missed the meaning of Memorial Day, to honor those who gave their life in service to our country. As we take a breath, think about how we honor and remember those who have passed. There are many examples of ways we do this. The AIDS quilt was created as a way to remember individuals who died from the disease of AIDS. The 911 memorial was a memorial created to honor and name those who died in that attack. Certainly for years, the Day of the Dead has been celebrated as a day of remembering those ancestors. I think about Holocaust museums and how they honor the Jews and their struggle and plight. The Vietnam War Memorial lists the names of those who lost their lives during that conflict. When Tom and I visited Japan several years ago when my son lived there, we were in Hiroshima, and they have a peace park. Not a war memorial, but a peace park. You see, Hiroshima, Japan is where the atomic bomb was dropped. And there are still people to this day who die from the effects of the atomic bomb. In this peace park, there's a large crypt. And each year, at the same time, once a year, the crypt is open and the names of all those who have died during that past 12 months from the effects of the atomic bomb are placed into the crypt. It's a way of honoring those who have passed. Now, in the Bible, we read genealogies, the lineage of people, and it's a way to honor those who came before. Many organizations will have a service to remember and honor those from their organization who passed away in the last year. As people on a spiritual path, I would encourage us to stop and consider some of the spiritual principles, the spiritual truths that offer hope and encouragement during these solemn times. As we honor those who have gone before us, let us remember the principle of eternal life. Eternal life, we are all part of this. And remember, God is nigh. God is near always, because we are eternal. At Centers for Spiritual Living, we believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. We realize that we are eternal, and when we really grasp that in our minds, then our experience in this human body, we realize is just a small bleep in time. We were with Spirit before we came into this physical form, and we return to Spirit when we leave this human body. Spirit is eternal. So our life in Spirit, as Spirit, is also eternal. We are one with the life of God. This is also a great reminder that we are not our bodies. We have a body, but we are spiritual beings, and the true essence of us, the spirit or the soul of us, lives on when we give up this body. When we honor those who have passed on to their greater yet to be, we keep them alive in our memories. We keep them alive in our celebrations, and knowing that their living did make a difference. So the principle of eternal life. The second principle I want to highlight today is forgiveness. It's very important. Think about Captain Ellicombe. He must have needed to have forgiveness for himself, forgiveness for his son, forgiveness for the person who shot him, and forgiveness for the war that took his life. You see, as we live from a place of forgiveness, forgiveness is not to free the other person. Forgiveness is to free ourselves. Are you living a life of forgiveness? Or do you need to spend some time forgiving yourself or someone else? Powerful healing can occur when we open our hearts to forgive. Forgive does not mean the situation never occurred. We're not blocking it out in that manner. It means that we're releasing the past and our bounds to it so that we can live in the now moment. We can live free and without any limitation from the past. Each day is brand new, and we are not bound by the past. If we hold unforgiveness in our hearts, we're holding limitation that keeps us from fully living life and being in the present moment. You may have heard the phrase that if we are unforgiving, it's like we're drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. Not very effective, and not an effective way to live. So we need to live from forgiveness. On page 438 in the Science of Mind textbook, we read, remembering that spirit holds no evil towards man and that God is love, we should emulate this divine lesson and forgive all, that our hearts may be free from the burden of our own condemnation. Are you living from a heart of love? Have you forgiven the past? What was? All those things that you cannot change because they are the past? And when you do that, you can live fully in the present. Are you living fully in the present today? This brings us to our third spiritual principle or spiritual truth for today, which is freedom. We know freedom is the birthright of every individual. We are all children of God. We are free to choose and create our own experience of life. Now, many people gave their life to protect and preserve the freedoms we now have in our lives. Are you taking time to remember this and to say a prayer of thank you? Thank you. There is a spiritual freedom, I should say, that nobody can take away from us. And that's freedom in our minds, knowing that we get to choose how we respond to life. There's also a physical freedom that can be controlled by outside sources, things like governments, laws of the land, and such. Memorial Day is honoring those who gave their life, protecting our physical freedoms. As we remember this, we can also be reminded that each one of us is responsible for our mental freedom, our spiritual freedom, how we choose to see life. Choose to be free, not bound to the past. Howard Thurman said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and then go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Have you come alive? Are you living your life awake, aware, and alert to all the potential that is yours because you are a spiritual being in this human experience? I'll share a final Memorial Day story with you so you don't think everything is so depressing. A little boy, Alex, one Sunday morning stood staring up at a large plaque that hung in the foyer of a church. The 7-year-old had been staring at the plaque for some time, so the pastor walked up, stood beside the boy, and quietly said, "Good morning, Alex." "Good morning, Pastor," the young man replied, keeping his gaze focused on the plaque. "Pastor McGee, what is this?" Alex asked. "Well, son, these are the people who have died in the service." They both stood there staring at the plaque for a little while longer, and then Alex's voice broke the silence and he asked, "Which one? The 9 o'clock or the 10:30 service?" Life is what we make it. This Memorial Day, as we take time to be grateful for the sacrifice of life that so many gave so we can enjoy our physical freedom, let us step into what makes us come alive. When I look up into the night sky, I see the stars. I want to share my screen here with you. When I look into that night sky and I see all the stars, I recognize that Spirit is everywhere around me. And there is so much of Spirit that I realize how small I am and that my life is just a little bleep in time. So I want to remind us as we close of our spiritual truths for today. That life is eternal and that Spirit is always with us and we are always with Spirit before we come into human form and after we leave this human form. Forgiveness is my work here in my life. It's my responsibility on this physical plane to live the life I want, to forgive my past, forgive others, and to live from love and compassion. And finally, freedom is my nature. As I forgive, I step into the power of freedom, and I can come alive to share my own unique expression of Spirit living as me. This week, take some time to contemplate your own eternality. Take time to feel the universe supporting you from the inside out. See what needs your forgiveness this day, and step into the power of freedom to come alive as God in action. And now let us pray. We join together, breathing in the message from today, recognizing the eternal life that is in, through, and as each one of us, being grateful for the life that we have and for the life of all those around us. We're grateful for the life of our loved ones. We're grateful for the life that those who gave their life to preserve our physical freedom and the price they paid. I bless each one of us as we recognize and move into a place of forgiveness for anything that limits us from our true nature, which is complete freedom. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and the allness, the unconditional love of God is our very life. It is our nature. And so I bless each of us as we open ourselves to do our work, to be free this week, free in a spiritual way, to choose our life and to share love and compassion with the world, to raise the vibration that we bring into our living. I release my word of blessing, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Rick. We move now into our prosperity time. And here's our cute little basket that represents the generosity that you show us every week. And we are so grateful, and you are so blessed. With every donation, I make sure you get special good vibes sent your way, and we thank you. In the chat, you'll see information about how you can donate, either PayPal or Giveify, or you can send us a check to the P.O. Box. We get them all, and we bless you for each one. And there's also a prosperity affirmation. I'm going to say it once, and then we'll just say it together. It is, abundance is what happens when you focus on joy. Yes. So say it with me. Abundance is what happens when you focus on joy. Yes. Thank you. And we will continue to use your money wisely, just for all the best things, and to support others as well. Thank you. Next is announcements. First up is the first June meeting of the men's group. It's June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. via the same Zoom link that got you here today, and all men are welcome. So we hope you'll take advantage of that and join the men's group. Next up, this coming June 5th, the first Saturday, is always visioning. It's a 45-minute visioning that happens via telebridge, no video, so you don't even have to comb your hair or get out of your pajamas. Just call in, and you'll learn how to vision for yourself and the center, and anything you want to vision for. It's a very nice thing. It's a telebridge number, and the number is 712-775-8983. And you see it there on your screen, and that little access code you punch in, and you'll be right there. Miss Vicki Jeter will lead you with that. Then if you'd like, at 11 a.m., always on Saturday, there is a discussion call for an hour, and they talk about everything so you can stay and be on that. But you don't have to. You can come just for doing and learning visioning. Then coming up, June 19th, Miss Vicki Jeter is having a best friends workshop, and I'm going to let her tell you about that, because I'm not sure if it's the same as the one before, or if it's different, but I know some people couldn't make it to the first one. So Vicki, tell us about that.
Thank you so much, Pat. And I have to say, that was such a wonderful application for visioning, and the Saturday discussion call was fabulous. Thank you. So the Best Friends Workshop, this is the same workshop that I did a couple months ago. We did have so many people that wanted to come that we needed to do a round 2, which I'm so excited about. If you are interested in becoming your own best friend and you're available to this day, there is just a few little materials that you'll want to bring. So make sure and let me know, even if you're just thinking about coming, so that I can make you aware, and you can kind of, the process starts now. As soon as that little seed gets planted, for all of you that are even looking at this slide, you'd be surprised what happens when these kind of ideas get planted. So every step you take, even if you end up not being able to come, or even if you don't think you would really come, just engage it with me, and I'll let you know what you would be bringing if you would like to try to come. And it's love offering, so there's not any required investment to be able to be there. And it's on Zoom, just like this. It's the same Zoom link that you used to come on Sunday. And we go from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2:30, so it's not too early, not too late, and you will have a break in the middle for lunch. Let me know any questions, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Vicki. The last thing I want to remind you about is Zelle. We have Zelle up and running. I know many of you like to use it. I've been using it as a process of getting it up and making sure everything works, and it is slick. I'm telling you, you'll love it. You go into your online bill paying app and you can set us up using this email that you see on the screen. And then you just put in what you want, and bam, like that, no fees. It is fabulous. So it's a good thing. If you get a chance to give it a try and you bank online, you will really appreciate the convenience that Zelle offers. Okay, I think that's it for me and announcements. Reverend Rick?
So let's move to our closing song, which is Spirit Move.
There is no holding back. Power in the room right now, rising up as a force of love so high it can't come down. Every soul is a soul on fire, burning bright with the light of love. Here we are, open wide, there's no place we can hide. We sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet, spirit move. Everything, spirit move. In the space between, spirit move. Like a river deep and wide, rolling out like a mighty flood. Love filling every heart and pouring out of us. We're breaking down these walls, building everybody up. It's taking over now, there's no way it can stop. So we sing out, we sing. Sing out, we sing. Spirit move, our hands and feet, spirit
say in closing that I am grateful for all those who gave their life to preserve our freedom. And I bless each one of us as we go forth now to do the work that we have to do, to be free in our minds, to be free in our spirits, to forgive where we need to forgive, to share love where we can, and to grow so that we share that vibration, that high vibration of spirit with the world that needs the touch, the compassion, the peace, and the joy that we have as our very nature. So bless you this week, my friends. Go forth in love, peace, and joy. And so it is.